Welcome back to our channel, USA Coins 69, where every coin tells a story and every story could lead to a fortune. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 2009. You might think a penny is just worth 1 cent, but after watching this video, you'll never look at your change the same way again. Because this tiny coin has a huge secret, one that could turn your small pocket change into an unbelievable treasure. So stay tuned till the very end, because you won't believe how valuable this coin can be, and we'll reveal its shocking price in words at the end. Now, let's take a journey through time and discover what makes the 2009 Lincoln penny so special. This coin was released to celebrate the 200th birthday of one of America's most iconic leaders, Abraham Lincoln. But 2009 wasn't just a birthday celebration, it marked a turning point in U.S. coin history. The U.S. Mint released a series of 4 unique designs that year, each one representing a different chapter in Lincoln's life, from his humble beginnings to his presidency. These designs became instant favorites among collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike. The first design, called The Birth and Early Childhood in Kentucky, features a simple log cabin, a tribute to Lincoln's early life and his roots in Kentucky. It reminds us that great things often begin in the simplest of places. The second design, Formative Years in Indiana, captures a young Lincoln sitting on a log, reading a book and taking a break from rail splitting, a powerful symbol of education, self-improvement, and hard work. The third design, Professional Life in Illinois, shows Lincoln standing proudly in front of the State House, representing his journey into politics and law. And finally, the fourth design, Presidency in Washington D.C., portrays the unfinished U.S. Capitol dome behind Lincoln, symbolizing a nation still growing, just like his dream of unity and freedom. Each of these coins tells a story, and together they represent the incredible journey of Abraham Lincoln, from a humble boy to a president who changed the course of history. That's what makes the 2009 penny so meaningful. But its beauty and symbolism are only part of the story, because hidden among these coins are versions so rare that collectors are willing to pay incredible prices to own them. Now, let's talk about the mint marks, those tiny letters you'll find on the coin that can make a huge difference in value. The 2009 Lincoln cent was produced at several U.S. mint locations, including Philadelphia, No Mint Mark, Denver, D Mint Mark, and San Francisco, S Mint Mark, used for proof coins. While most of these coins are common and still circulate today, a select few were struck with extraordinary precision, or came out of the mint with unique variations, and that's where things get interesting. Some 2009 Lincoln pennies have rare minting errors, small details that make them one of a kind. These errors could be off-center strikes, double dies, or unusual metal compositions that happened during the minting process. Sometimes the edges are slightly misaligned, or a small detail on Lincoln's face or the building appears doubled. To the average eye, it's just a minor imperfection, but to collectors, it's a golden opportunity point. One of the rarest versions of the 2009 penny is the one that has an extraordinary level of detail and is in pristine, uncirculated condition. Imagine a coin that looks as if it just left the mint, with no scratches, no wear, and a brilliant shine. These coins are incredibly hard to find because most 2009 pennies entered circulation and quickly lost their original luster. But if you're lucky enough to find a perfect one, especially with a unique mint mark or a rare error, you could be holding something worth far more than a single cent. Collectors from all around the world search for these coins. Online auctions, numismatic expos, and private collections have seen fierce competition over these little copper treasures. What's even more fascinating is how values can skyrocket overnight once a coin is recognized as rare or unique. The demand for mint condition or error 2009 Lincoln pennies has grown steadily over the years, especially because they mark such a significant milestone in U.S. history. Let's also talk about the material. Unlike the older copper pennies that were almost pure copper, the 2009 Lincoln cents were made from a zinc core coated with copper, yet the mint also released some special collector's versions in 95% copper, reminiscent of the classic Lincoln cents from earlier decades. These copper versions are far more sought after, especially when paired with the rarest mint marks or proof finishes from San Francisco. If you're checking your coin collection or even your pocket change right now, take a moment to look closely at your 2009 Lincoln penny. Examine both sides carefully. Is there a small letter under the date, a D, an S, or no mark at all? Does the image look slightly off-center, or do you see doubled lines or letters? Every tiny detail could be the clue that you're holding a fortune. Now imagine finding one of these coins in perfect, uncirculated condition, maybe hidden away in an old coin roll, or preserved unknowingly in a drawer for years. Collectors and investors alike would jump at the chance to own it. And the truth is, these coins have already sold at incredible prices when authenticated and graded by professional numismatic agencies. Grading plays a huge role in determining value. The higher the grade, especially grades like MS-67 or MS-68, the more valuable the coin becomes. A 2009 penny graded at the top of the scale can bring life-changing money, especially if it has a rare error or mint mark combination. The coin world is full of surprises, and stories like this remind us that treasures can be found in the most unexpected places, even in your everyday pocket change. So, the next time you come across a 2009 Lincoln penny, don't overlook it. Take a closer look, it might be your lucky day. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. How much could one of these rare 2009 Lincoln 1-cent coins be worth? Believe it or not, some of these extraordinary examples, those with the right mint mark, the right error, and the perfect condition, have been valued as high as $90,000. That's right, $90,000 for a single 2009 1-cent coin. Imagine turning one penny into a small fortune. So, keep your eyes open, check every coin carefully, and who knows, maybe your next discovery could be worth more than you ever dreamed. Today, we're going back in time to explore one of America's most fascinating and potentially valuable coins, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1978. Now, you might think this old copper coin is just an ordinary penny, but what if I told you that hidden among millions of them is a rare version worth an unbelievable amount of money? So stay tuned until the very end, because you're about to find out why a small 1978 penny could be worth a massive fortune, and we'll reveal its shocking value in words at the end. Let's start by diving into the history of this remarkable coin. The 1978 Lincoln penny belongs to one of the longest-running coin series in U.S. history, the Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the penny was the first American coin to feature a real person's portrait, and it quickly became an enduring symbol of the nation's pride and history. Over the decades, the penny has seen changes in metal composition, mint marks, and small design tweaks, but one thing remains constant: its connection to the legacy of one of the most beloved American presidents. By the time 1978 rolled around, the Lincoln penny had already been in production for nearly 70 years. These coins were made primarily of copper, 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them that distinct reddish-brown color that collectors love. It was also one of the last years before the major metal composition change in 1982, when the mint switched to using mostly zinc due to rising copper prices. That alone makes the 1978 penny special, as it represents the final era of true copper pennies that collectors cherish for their historical and material value. Now, let's talk about where these coins were made. In 1978, the United States Mint produced Lincoln pennies at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a small D under the date; and San Francisco, marked with an S for proof coins. While billions of these coins were produced for circulation, the real treasure lies in the details: the condition, the mint mark, and sometimes, rare errors that occurred during production. These small differences can transform an ordinary 1-cent coin into a collector's dream worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. Take, for example, the Denver Mint pennies. The D mint mark versions are among the most commonly found, but not all were struck perfectly. Some 1978 D pennies have been discovered with remarkable errors, doubled dies, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes that make them unique. A doubling error, where parts of the design appear double due to a slight misalignment during minting, can significantly increase the coin's value. Similarly, proof coins from San Francisco that remain in perfect, uncirculated condition, bright, mirror-like, and flawless, are highly prized by collectors for their beauty and scarcity. Condition plays a massive role in determining value. Most 1978 pennies have been circulating for decades, passing through countless hands, pocket change, and cash registers. Naturally, they've picked up scratches, wear, and discoloration over time. However, if you happen to come across a coin that looks untouched, with its original shine and crisp details, it could be an uncirculated or mint-state coin. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins based on their condition, and coins that receive grades such as MS67 or higher are extremely rare. These high-grade examples can command extraordinary prices at auctions because they're nearly perfect, preserved time capsules of history. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1978 penny. On the front, or obverse, you'll find the timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the same one designed by Brenner almost 70 years earlier. Above Lincoln's head, the words, "In God We Trust," proudly represent the nation's motto. To his left, Liberty stands boldly, while the date, 1978, appears to his right, with the small mint mark just below it. Turn the coin over, and you'll see the stunning reverse design featuring the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. If you look closely, you can even spot a tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, a brilliant detail that many people never notice. This combination of historic design, craftsmanship, and symbolism makes the 1978 penny not just a piece of currency, but a piece of American history. For collectors, that alone adds value. But what truly excites numismatists and treasure hunters are the rare and exceptional versions, the ones with flawless surfaces, vivid color, or minting errors that set them apart from the rest. There have been stories from coin shows and auctions where collectors discovered that their ordinary-looking 1978 penny was anything but ordinary. Imagine having a penny tucked away in a drawer for years, only to find out it's a rare minting error worth thousands. These stories aren't just myths. They're real examples of how attention to detail and curiosity can pay off in ways you'd never expect. So, how can you tell if your 1978 penny might be valuable? Start with a magnifying glass and inspect it carefully. Check for any doubling on the numbers or letters, especially around "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date. Examine the mint mark closely. Is it clean, or does it look like it was struck twice? Look for unusual textures, misaligned edges, or faint die cracks. Each of these details could indicate a rare variety that sets your coin apart. If your penny has been well preserved, with little to no wear, it's worth getting it professionally graded. Collectors and auction houses value graded coins because they've been authenticated and certified for their quality. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. And if your coin also happens to have a rare error or unique mint mark, its value could multiply several times over. What's truly remarkable is how such a tiny coin can hold such enormous value. It's a reminder that treasures often come in the smallest packages, and sometimes, they've been hiding right under our noses for decades. Whether it's tucked away in a coin jar, sitting in a collection you inherited, or mixed in with spare change, the next 1978 penny you find might just surprise you. Now comes the moment you've been waiting for, the incredible value reveal. Believe it or not, one of the rarest versions of the 1978 Lincoln penny, in perfect mint state condition with the right mint mark and exceptional details, has been valued at an astonishing $93,000. Yes, you heard that right, $93,000 for a single 1978 1-cent coin. Just imagine turning a penny you've had for years into a life-changing treasure. So, take a closer look at your old coins, check those mint marks, and don't underestimate the power of a little copper coin that carries a big piece of history. Today, we're going to uncover one of the most fascinating and surprising coins in American history, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1981. Yes, that little copper coin you've probably seen 1,000 times before could actually be worth far more than you think. So grab your coin jar, your magnifying glass, and stay tuned till the very end, because the value of this humble 1981 penny will absolutely amaze you, and will reveal its incredible worth in words at the end. Let's take a journey back to the early 1980s, a time of big changes in America. The economy was shifting, technology was growing, And the U.S. Mint was preparing for one of the biggest transitions in coin history. The 1981 Lincoln penny represents the end of an era. It was one of the last years the United States produced the penny primarily from copper, before switching to a cheaper zinc composition in 1982. That change alone makes the 1981 penny an important piece of history, a symbol of the transition from classic craftsmanship to modern efficiency. The 1981 Lincoln cent continued the legacy that began in 1909, when the first penny featuring Abraham Lincoln was introduced to celebrate the centennial of his birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, or front, of the coin became one of the most enduring and recognizable designs in U.S. history. For more than a century, this simple yet powerful image has symbolized honesty, leadership, and resilience, the very qualities that defined Lincoln himself. By 1981, the Lincoln penny had already been in production for over 7 decades. These coins were minted in 3 major locations across the United States: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a small d; and San Francisco, with an S mint mark for proof coins. Each mint produced millions of pennies, but as always, the true value hides in the details, the condition, the minting quality, and the rare errors that sometimes slip through unnoticed. Let's talk about what makes the 1981 penny so special. For most people, it's just a small copper coin that's been around forever. But for coin enthusiasts, it's a piece of history, and in some rare cases, a ticket to serious money. One reason collectors love the 1981 penny is because of its composition. These coins were made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them a distinct reddish tone and a heavier feel than the modern zinc pennies we use today. This was the final full year that all circulating pennies were made of copper, making them more desirable to collectors who appreciate their traditional makeup. Now, the 1981 penny comes in several versions, including the regular circulation coins and the proof coins from San Francisco. But here's where things get interesting. 1981 was the year when the mint used 2 slightly different designs for the S mint mark on proof coins, known as Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 1 mint mark has a more rounded and filled-in appearance, while the Type 2 S is sharper and more refined. The Type 2 proof coins are much rarer and were produced in far smaller quantities, which makes them highly valuable among serious collectors, but it doesn't stop there. Some 1981 pennies have unique errors that make them one of a kind. There are examples of double die obverse, where parts of the lettering or date appear slightly double due to a misalignment during the minting process. There are also off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and repunched mint marks that make each error coin completely unique. Collectors go wild for these kinds of imperfections because they tell a story of how a small mistake can create something truly rare. When it comes to coin value, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale that measures their preservation, from heavily worn circulated coins to flawless, uncirculated pieces. A 1981 penny that's been in circulation for decades might only be worth its face value, but a pristine coin that has never been used, still shining with its original mint luster, can be worth a small fortune. Imagine holding a coin that's over 40 years old but looks brand new, as if it just came off the minting press. Those kinds of coins, especially ones graded at the highest levels like MS-67 or MS-68, are incredibly rare and sought after. Collectors pay huge sums for such coins because they represent perfection, a snapshot of American coinage at its finest moment. Even more fascinating is the story behind proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. These coins weren't meant for everyday circulation. They were made specifically for collectors, using polished dies and specially prepared planchets to achieve a mirror-like finish. A perfect proof 1981 S penny with the Type 2 mint mark can easily command thousands of dollars at auction. Combine that with an exceptional grade and you're looking at a coin that could easily surpass even the wildest expectations. Let's not forget the artistry of the coin itself. The obverse side proudly displays Abraham Lincoln's profile, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," above his head, "Liberty," to his left, and the date, 1981, to his right, along with the mint mark below. On the reverse side, you'll find the beautiful image of the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959. If you look closely, you can actually see a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a small but powerful detail that connects both sides of the coin to the same great leader. Now, here's where the magic happens. Some coins from 1981 were struck with extraordinary precision, while others came out with subtle differences in texture, strike sharpness, or surface finish. These factors can make one penny far more valuable than another, even if they look nearly identical to the untrained eye. That's why it's so important to examine every coin carefully, because you never know when you might have a hidden treasure right in your hand. Collectors often say that the thrill of coin hunting comes from the mystery, the idea that even the smallest, most ordinary coin could turn out to be worth thousands. And the 1981 penny is a perfect example of that. Some of these coins, depending on their mint mark, condition, and rarity, have shocked the numismatic world with their incredible auction prices. So, if you have a collection of old pennies lying around, it's time to take a closer look. Check for the date, check for the mint mark, and inspect the details under good lighting or with a magnifier. If you find one that looks unusually sharp, shiny, or slightly different from the rest, you might just be holding something very valuable. Now, let's get to the part you've all been waiting for, the value reveal. Among the rarest and most pristine examples of the 1981 Lincoln penny, with the right mint mark, flawless condition, and unique qualities, one has been valued at an astonishing $86,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $86,000 for a single 1-cent coin from 1981. Just imagine turning a penny from your change jar into a life-changing amount of money. It's stories like these that keep collectors searching and dreaming, reminding us that sometimes, the smallest treasures hold the greatest worth. Today, we're going back more than half a century to uncover the incredible story of a small yet powerful piece of American history, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1967. This is one of those coins that looks simple, ordinary, and easy to overlook, but don't be fooled. Because hidden among millions of these 1967 pennies are a few rare treasures that could make you a small fortune. So stay with me until the very end, because you won't believe how valuable this little coin can be, and I'll reveal its shocking price in words at the end. Now, let's travel back to the year 1967, a year of music, change, and transformation across America. The country was in the middle of the space race, the civil rights movement was in full swing, and the U.S. Mint was making some major adjustments in the world of coinage. The 1967 Lincoln penny sits right at the heart of that transformation. It was minted during a time of economic change and coin shortage, and that year stands out for one very unique reason. In 1967, no mint marks were used on any U.S. coins. That's right, whether your penny was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, it won't have a mint mark at all. This was part of a government decision to discourage coin hoarding that had begun during the mid-1960s when people started keeping coins for their silver content and collectible value. So, every 1967 Lincoln cent looks pretty similar, but as collectors know, the real magic lies in the details. Even though mint marks were missing, differences in strike quality, metal composition, and minting errors make some 1967 pennies far more special than others. And some of these small details can turn what looks like an everyday coin into something worth thousands upon thousands of dollars. The 1967 Lincoln penny is part of the classic series that started in 1959 when the U.S. Mint replaced the old, wheat ears, reverse design with the Lincoln Memorial. This iconic design was created by Frank Gasparo and remained in use for 50 years. On the obverse side, the front, you have Victor David Brenner's legendary portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Above his head is the national motto, "In God We Trust," to his left the word "Liberty," and to his right, the date, 1967. And since there are no mint marks that year, it's one of the easiest dates to identify. On the reverse, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial in all its glory, and if you look closely, you can actually spot a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1967 penny so fascinating to collectors. For one, this was one of the few years the Mint released a special mint set instead of traditional proof sets. These coins weren't meant for everyday circulation, they were struck with extra care and sharper details, giving them a semi-proof-like finish. Collectors call these SMS coins, and when they're preserved in perfect condition, they can be worth serious money. If you happen to have one of these 1967 pennies that came from a special mint set and it's in pristine, uncirculated condition, you might be sitting on something truly valuable, but there's more. During 1967, some pennies came out of the mint with rare minting errors, and that's where the true treasure lies. There are double die obverse, where letters or numbers appear slightly doubled, off-center strikes, where the design isn't perfectly centered, and die cracks that leave raised lines across the surface of the coin. Each of these errors makes the coin unique, no two are ever exactly the same, and collectors love these one-of-a-kind variations. A single 1967 penny with a bold double die error or a striking misalignment can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its condition. Condition is everything when it comes to determining a coin's value. The vast majority of 1967 pennies have been in circulation for decades, so they've picked up scratches, discoloration, and wear. But if you're lucky enough to find one that's been perfectly preserved, a coin with sharp details, glowing luster, and no signs of handling, then you have a treasure on your hands. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC as mint state, MS, 67 or higher can command eye-popping prices at auction. Let's not forget the historical significance of this coin. The 1967 penny marks an important turning point in U.S. coinage. The U.S. Mint was experimenting with production methods, materials, and new ways to strike coins more efficiently. It was also part of the last few years when pennies were made from a heavy 95% copper composition. Each of these coins carries not just monetary value, but also historical weight, a piece of the past you can literally hold in your hand. Now imagine this: you're sorting through an old box of coins your parents or grandparents left behind. You pick up a 1967 penny that looks a little different, maybe shinier, maybe slightly misaligned, or maybe it just feels heavier. You check it under a magnifying glass, and the details seem unusually crisp. What if that coin, sitting unnoticed for years, was actually worth more than a car, or even more than a year's salary? That's the kind of excitement that drives collectors to keep searching. Many stories in the coin world begin just like that, an ordinary person finding something extraordinary. People have discovered rare 1967 pennies with strong double die strikes or near-perfect SMS versions tucked away in old sets, and these discoveries often sell for astonishing amounts at coin shows and online auctions. The beauty of collecting coins is that the next big find could be in anyone's hands, even yours. Let's talk a bit about grading and why it's so crucial. Coins are carefully examined by experts who evaluate every detail: the shine, the strike, the color, and any tiny marks or flaws. The higher the grade, the higher the value. A worn 1967 penny might only be worth a cent, but a flawless, uncirculated example can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And when you reach those ultra-high grades, MS 68 or higher, the prices skyrocket. Combine that with a rare minting error, and you're talking about life-changing value. Collectors often say that every old penny tells a story. The 1967 Lincoln cent tells the story of a changing America, a nation advancing into a new era, but still holding on to its proud traditions. It's a reminder that even something as small as a penny can carry immense meaning, beauty, and history. And for those who know where to look, it can also carry tremendous value. Now we come to the most exciting part, the value reveal. Among the rarest and most pristine examples of the 1967 Lincoln penny, especially those from the special mint set with flawless condition or unique errors, some have been valued at an astounding $92,000. Yes, you heard that right, $92,000 for a single 1-cent coin from 1967. Imagine that. A simple penny, something we often overlook or leave lying in a drawer, could be worth more than most people expect to see in a lifetime. Today, we're going to uncover the fascinating story behind one of the most intriguing coins in U.S. history, the 1982 Lincoln 1-cent coin. You might think it's just another ordinary penny, but what if I told you that one specific 1982 Lincoln penny could be worth a small fortune? Yes, this tiny 1-cent coin could actually be hiding incredible value, so stay tuned till the very end to find out just how much money this coin could bring you today. let's begin by taking a look back at the year 1982, a year that was truly historic for the Lincoln penny. It was the year when the United States Mint made a major change to the composition of the 1-cent coin. Before 1982, all Lincoln pennies were made primarily of copper. But due to rising metal prices, the Mint decided to switch the coin's material from 95% copper to a mostly zinc composition, with only a thin copper coating. This change might sound small, but it created one of the most fascinating and confusing years in U.S. coinage history. Because during that transition, both copper and zinc pennies were minted, leading to multiple varieties, different weights, and even rare minting errors that have become collector favorites today. The 1982 Lincoln penny is not just one coin, it's a family of coins. There are actually several varieties: 1982 large date copper, 1982 small date copper, 1982 large date zinc, and 1982 small date zinc. These variations exist for both the Philadelphia and Denver mint marks, making a total of 7 different types of 1982 pennies. For collectors, identifying these differences is where the fun begins, and where the value starts to rise. Now, let's talk about the design, because that's what makes this coin instantly recognizable. On the front side, you see the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that has graced the penny since 1909. His sharp, detailed profile faces right, with the word Liberty on the left and the date, 1982, along with the mint mark below it. Above Lincoln's head, the words, "In God We Trust," stand proudly, symbolizing faith and resilience. The reverse side features the majestic Lincoln Memorial, created by Frank Gasparo. If you look closely at the memorial, you can actually see a tiny statue of Lincoln inside, a beautiful artistic touch that connects the coin's design to its historical roots. Now here's where things get really exciting: the different types of the 1982 penny can be identified by their weight and appearance. The copper pennies weigh about 3.11 grams, while the zinc ones weigh only 2.5 grams. This means that if you have a small digital scale at home, you can actually test which version you have. Even a simple difference of 0.6 grams could mean your penny is made of an entirely different metal composition, and that difference could make all the difference in value, but the real treasure lies in the errors and rare varieties. During the minting process, some dies were mixed up, creating coins that don't fit neatly into any category. For example, there are coins known as transitional errors, where a 1982 D penny was struck using the wrong metal planchet. These extremely rare pennies have sold for thousands of dollars because they bridged the gap between the copper and zinc transition. The most famous example is the 1982 D small date copper penny, a coin so rare that only a few have ever been discovered. If you happen to find one of those in your collection or pocket change, it could be worth an incredible amount of money. Collectors also pay attention to the condition of the coin. A regular 1982 penny that's been in circulation for decades might not seem like much, but one in mint state or uncirculated condition can bring in serious value. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, especially those with unique color tones, perfect luster, and no scratches, are highly sought after. Every tiny detail, from the sharpness of Lincoln's hair to the clarity of the memorial, can make a big difference in determining its price. Another fascinating thing about the 1982 penny is how it marked the end of an era. It represents the transition from traditional copper coinage to the modern zinc coins we use today. For numismatists and history lovers, that change tells a story of economic shifts, technological advancements, and the ever-changing face of American currency. That's why this coin holds such sentimental and historical value, beyond its monetary worth. So, what should you look for if you think you have a valuable 1982 penny? First, check the mint mark. A small d means it was minted in Denver, and no mint mark means Philadelphia. Then look closely at the size of the numbers in the date. If the 2 looks thinner and the tops of the numbers align differently, you might have a small date variety. Finally, weigh the coin. If your coin weighs about 3.11 grams and has the D mint mark, you might just have stumbled upon one of the most valuable error pennies ever made. Collectors all over the world are hunting for these coins. Some pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars for uncirculated versions or special varieties. But in rare cases, certain unique examples of the 1982 Lincoln penny have shocked collectors and auction houses alike by selling for astonishing amounts. It's always worth checking your coins carefully. You never know when you might have a hidden gem right in your hands. And now for the moment everyone's been waiting for, the value reveal. If you're lucky enough to have the rare 1982 Lincoln penny with the right mint mark and in pristine, uncirculated condition, this small 1-cent coin could be worth an unbelievable $78,000. Imagine that, a single penny, something most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up from the ground, could actually be worth $78,000 today. So go ahead, dig through your coin jars, check those old piggy banks, and take a closer look at any 1982 pennies you might have. You never know what you could find. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed learning about the hidden value behind this amazing coin, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another coin treasure story. Until next time, happy collecting and good luck searching for your next rare find.